On January 7, 2009, Ramalinga Raju sent a letter to his board of directors. The first sentence read, "It is with deep regret and tremendous burden that I am carrying on my conscience that I would like to bring the following facts to your notice." He then confessed that he had been fabricating his company's financials for years. The bank balance he had reported, $1 billion, didn't exist. The revenue inflated by 95%, thousands of employees were fictitious. Interest income that never came. Within hours, Satyam Computer Services, India's fourth largest IT company, a darling of Wall Street, a firm that serviced Nestlé, General Electric, and the United States government, lost 77% of its market value. This wasn't a case of aggressive accounting or market misjudgment. It was systematic, deliberate fraud spanning nearly a decade. The question isn't just how Raju did it, but why no one stopped him. Ramalinga Raju founded Satyam in 1987 in Hyderabad, at a time when India's tech industry barely existed. He had 20 employees and one client. The name Satyam means truth in Sanskrit. Raju positioned the company as a bridge between Western corporations and India's emerging talent pool. The timing was perfect. The Y2K crisis was looming, and American companies were desperate for IT services. Satyam's revenue exploded. By 2001, they were listed on the New York Stock Exchange. By 2008, they employed 53,000 people across 66 countries. The World Bank chose Satyam to digitize its procurement systems. The World Economic Forum gave Raju its Global IT Excellence Award. From the outside, Satyam looked like the best-run company in India. But inside, the numbers had been fiction for years. The fraud began small around the year 2000. Raju started inflating revenue by small margins to meet Wall Street's quarterly expectations. The problem with inflating revenue is you then have to hide the missing cash. So Raju created fake bank statements. He forged fixed deposit receipts. He inflated invoices, then hid them in an internal system auditors never checked. Once the gap between real and reported numbers grew too large to hide with fake invoices, he invented thousands of employees who didn't exist and paid them salaries into accounts he controlled. The scale was staggering. By the end, Satyam's actual operating margin was less than 3%, while Raju reported margins over 20%. He fabricated 7,665 fake employees. He inflated Satyam's cash balance by $1.5 billion. Every quarter, he had to invent more revenue to cover the previous quarter's lies. It became a treadmill he couldn't stop. The cracks started appearing in 2008. Satyam's stock had been falling for months. Raju needed to do something dramatic to stop investors from asking questions. So on December 16, 2008, he announced Satyam would acquire two companies, Metis Properties and Metis Infrastructure, for $1.6 billion. The problem? Both companies were owned by his family. Metis is literally Satyam spelled backwards. Investors erupted. Within hours, Satyam's stock dropped 25%. 4 board members resigned immediately. Raju was forced to abandon the acquisition. But now he had a bigger problem. Investors, regulators, and auditors were all staring directly at Satyam's books. The lie was about to collapse. On January 7, 2009, Raju confessed everything in a 7-page letter. He described it as riding a tiger, not knowing how to get off without being eaten. The fallout was instant and brutal. Satyam's stock lost 77% of its value in a single trading session. The company was delisted from the New York Stock Exchange. PricewaterhouseCoopers, the auditing firm that had signed off on Satyam's financials for 9 consecutive years, was banned from operating in India for 2 years. The World Bank blacklisted Satyam for 8 years. Raju and his brother were arrested. Over 53,000 employees faced an uncertain future. The Indian government intervened and forced a sale to Tech Mahindra to prevent total collapse. In 2015, Raju was convicted and sentenced to 7 years in prison. But the real question isn't why Raju committed fraud. It's how he got away with it for nearly a decade while everyone was watching. PricewaterhouseCoopers audited Satyam's financials every single year. They never detected the fake bank statements, the forged receipts, or the thousands of employees who didn't exist. The board of directors included a former cabinet secretary and a dean from Harvard Business School. None of them noticed. The Satyam scandal exposed something deeper than one man's greed. It revealed a system designed to trust, not verify. Auditors who relied on documents provided by the very company they were auditing. Boards that treated oversight as a formality. Investors who cared more about quarterly growth than how it was achieved. The scandal led to major reforms in Indian corporate governance. But it didn't answer the uncomfortable question. If this could happen to a company everyone trusted, how many others are still hiding the truth? Which company collapse do you think we should investigate next?